Okay, so we're moving into drawing lines and getting ready to do our first assignment for this class. You need to be aware there's more than one way to draw a line in AutoCAD. We can use the direct distance method, the polar tracking method, Cartesian coordinates, absolute coordinates, relative coordinates, and polar coordinates. AutoCAD uses a Cartesian coordinate system. Every drawing has a UCS, a user coordinate system. When you use the absolute coordinate system, it's a point on the Cartesian coordinate system. When you use relative coordinates, the points are relative to the previous point. If you use a polar coordinate, the point uses distance and angle from the previous point. So polar coordinates are also relative coordinates. Our first assignment in the class is to create a traverse. A traverse is a series of interconnected lines between a series of points. The connecting lines are called courses. The points are called traverse stations. The azimuth of a line is the horizontal angle between the given line and the datum line. An azimuth is measured clockwise from the north. The bearing of a line is the angle between the line and a datum line. AutoCAD uses polar coordinates from the x-axis. The azimuth uses the y-axis. So you need to change your drawing settings when you're inputting azimuth values. You're going to be drawing a traverse. Imagine that a team in your company or in your student class went out to survey a plot of land that will be developed into a city park. The surveyor puts a PVC pipe at the survey point that acts as the 0, start point for the traverse. That's usually the corner of the lot. It's got a GPS reading on it. It's very easily identified. Then the surveyor puts down sticks and strings to designate the traverse. If you've ever visited a construction site or driven by one, you've seen the sticks and the strings that lay out the property lines and the building pad foundation footprints. The strings represent the traverse courses. Team will bring back a list of distances between the points along with the angle readings. The angle readings use the azimuth. Your job is to create an AutoCAD drawing that will be used to develop the property. So to use distance and azimuth in AutoCAD, you type units to open the units dialog, set your units to engineering, and then click that direction button. Set the direction to use the north or y-axis so you can enter the azimuth value. When drawing the lines, use apostrophe to indicate feet and use quotation marks to indicate inches. To use distance and azimuth in AutoCAD, you need to make sure you go to your drafting settings, go to dynamic input, and change the settings under pointer input to use relative coordinates. Because remember, when they were creating laying out the sticks and strings, they were going relative from one point to the next point. So before next class, you need to go Camino and take the first quiz, see how much you remember, what did you learn, and create the traverse and answer the questions to see if you created it correctly. So if you go to Camino and you look at the first assignment under assignments, it's create a traverse drawing. I give you a little introduction, and then here are all the points. Now remember, if you haven't set your drafting settings correctly, you're not going to be able to use these lengths and azimuth values. You're not going to be able to draw it. When you're done, you should have a figure that looks something like this. And you should be able to enter the value, answer the questions. What is the distance between point 13 and point A, which is your starting point, and what is the azimuth for the line between point 13 and point A? And you can select the line, right-click, and use properties to get those answers. So if you've drawn it correctly, you'll get the right answers. If you've drawn it wrong, you won't get the right answers. So this is how I'll know that you've been paying attention.